Hi everyone. I wanted to make this web recording and essentially cover two different topics that you may find to be beneficial to you in moving forward in this course. Pretty much in a 15-week course, the assignments are spread out pretty consistently, but the one point that I will definitely tell you is it's to your advantage if you can submit assignments sooner. Now, I realize you have until Friday night at midnight to submit work. However, like today, I've gotten 3 or 4 assignments from students, and so I can read them, respond pretty quickly, and get them back to the student. What happens though? So like on a weekend, I might get 80 emails in a day, and so if a student has questions, it takes me a little while. It's probably 2 days until I get everything sorted through and respond. So that's why, like I said, it's to your advantage if you respond a little bit sooner. The email assignment that we're going to be practicing in this course is of great benefit to you, I believe, as a consumer, but certainly as a professional. And then if you work for any nonprofit organizations or if you're working at your church or whatnot. But I mean, I've had students who are carpenters or helpers for Habitat for Humanity. And so if you need to get more supplies from organizations like 84 Lumber, Home Depot, Lowe's, or whatnot, you have to kind of elaborate specifically as far as what you need through a letter or email. The other point that I wanted to tell you, which I think is really, really important, is more and more doctors today will take email. So if you were writing pain in my right side, what does that mean? If you say, if you have like right here, like right by the rib cage, and if you have pain, perhaps you were shoveling snow and you had a big pile of snow and you may have strained whatever the cartilage or a muscle or whatever under the rib cage. However, if you say you have pain or you're feeling something from your jaw the whole ways down through your chest and into your rib cage, and perhaps you're suffering from a heart attack. So it does help to be, more specific. A friend of mine had to go to Las Vegas for a convention, and either when he got there or whatnot, he developed what's called shingles, which I believe is a form of chicken pox, something like that, but it's very, very itchy. And so he was able to write an email to his doctor to describe the symptoms that he had, and was also able to make a phone conversation. So his doctor prescribed this medication, to him, and was able to get it at a pharmacy out in Las Vegas. He said he can't even imagine if he had to fly 5 hours from Las Vegas to Pittsburgh. Shingles is very, very painful. So that was helpful, and he was able to communicate in that way, so that's useful. When you send me an email, what I want you to do is write, "Dear Mr. Ritzik, comma," and then tell me what you're sending me, or tell me what you want to know. And then in the next paragraph, in the body there, elaborate a little bit more. So, like if you're doing assignment 1, if you're sending me that, and assignment 2, tell me a little bit about what you tried to do or what you were focusing on. As we go through the course, if I tell you to work on transition words, if I tell you to use quotes better, if I say sometimes you need to use parallel structure, if you have too many run-on sentences, or your spelling or your use of apostrophes is off or whatnot, if I tell you to work on something, you work on it, let me know, and then I can take a closer look at it. So after you said, "Dear Mr. Ritzik," and then in the first sentence, tell me what you're sending, and the second sentence, comment on it a bit so it helps me to read it, and then the last sentence, just ask me for a response in a week. So if you're sending something to me for January 16th, then ask me to respond by January 23rd. So that's the ABC format. When you end, say thank you, comma, sincerely, comma, and then just your name, and that will be it. But that really, really does, help me. Now, what I wanted to talk about a little bit are the main assignments we have to do for this class. You have to do a summary assignment, and in that assignment, what you have to do is, there's 3 major assignments really for the class, but I just want to talk about those earlier on. For the summary assignment, you have to pick an article related to your field or profession, and then you have to summarize it in 3 different ways. There are examples in assignments, but the idea is you do like a visual organizer to show like a cluster or like a sort of called mapping, and you show it in that way. And then you do a longer summary of about 1,000 words, and then you do a shorter summary of about 300 to 400 words or so. But you're presenting the same information in 3 different ways, and people wonder, why would you ever want to do that? Well, it's necessary to do that because sometimes people need the much more detailed version, sometimes people need the encapsulated shorter version, and sometimes people need a more visual version. So, that does help. But for instance, in the summertime, I had a student from Penn State who was in meteorology and wrote about how they're predicting tsunamis. And that was a fascinating article. I had somebody that was in forensics and how, based on the bugs and maggots and flies and whatnot, how they can really pretty much tell how long a person has been dead if they find someone in the woods or whatnot. So, something of that nature. But it's like I said, you can use EBSCOhost, you can use LexisNexis, you can use Google. If you go to, and LexisNexis and EBSCOhost, by the way, are through our library database. But if you go through your library, if you're at another school, that's fine. But that's really what it is, summarizing information in 3 different ways. You also have to do a consumer report, and that is that you're looking at 3 brands of a product, and you are choosing, one of them. So I had somebody in class this summer that bought a hybrid bicycle, and so they were going to use it to train for, a triathlon. So they were going to be riding approximately 100 miles a week, and so they needed something that was lightweight but also shock absorbent, and so on. So that was what they looked at. I've had lots of people that looked at tablets, laptops, digital cameras, TVs, dishwashers, exercise equipment, like a rowing machine, you name it, I've seen people do it. So that's what we have to do at the end of the semester. The other item that's a major one is the written instructions. So with that one, you have to write a document. You have to make at least 5 pages and at least 5 visuals. But explain something in written format using visuals, something you're very good at. And I had a student named Dennis who was a certified Harley-Davidson mechanic, and he did how to tune up a Harley-Davidson Ultra Classic. I've had people that wrap gifts who were very, very good at that. Had a student that was a professional pet groomer, how to groom a larger aggressive dog. That was most interesting. I had one student that hiked the Appalachian Trail, and she talked about preparing and all the gear and everything you have to take to do something like that, because if you sprain your ankle or if you get bit by mosquitoes or whatnot, you have to have the first aid equipment because you're sure not getting out of the hospital. So anyhow, that's what she had done. So that's kind of the general idea with those assignments. Now, the other thing that I wanted to talk about a little bit today is marketing yourself professionally. And you know what? I'm having some problems with these videos. So let me just stop this one at about 8.5 minutes, and then I'll do the other part here to make sure that this goes through, because the last time I tried this at 10 minutes, it just stopped. So I'll just do it that way.